Hello and welcome to a review of the TIDRADIO H3 2 meter 70 centimeter and GMS FRS GMRS radio transceiver handheld. This was sent to me by TIDRADIO to do a review, and well, I guess we'll jump into it here. They sent me a script saying, well, first of all, they said they've watched my videos and like my work. And either they haven't watched my videos or they have watched them and figured they'd see if I could stay on script. You know me, that's not going to happen. Sorry, guys. But first thing that happened is I opened up this box that this was shipped in, and I said, oh, recycled cardboard. I'm on board with that. I don't mind this at all. Chances are everybody's going to throw away the box it came in anyway, and it might as well be recycled cardboard. That's absolutely fine. And you open it up, and there was a business card and a user manual, which isn't badly written. I was a little disappointed to find one battery. I am the type of guy, I suffer from battery anxiety whenever I'm walking around with an HT. I should mention that this radio is available in kits, or not kits, package deals. You can get 4 of these radios for $100. And for your $100, you get 4 radios, 2 batteries a piece, 4 charging stands, the 4 antennas naturally, which is, that's the type of deal that's like almost impossible to pass up. $25 a piece, and double batteries and everything else to go with it. But you have to look around. There's many different package deals available for this set. Came with a little lanyard. Came with a charging cable and a USB cable, or charging block brick and a USB cable. There's an antenna and a belt clip. So we'll get the box off the table and get that over with. There, that's on the floor. This radio can be charged either by plugging the USB-C into the back of this little thing and having it in the stand. Now, I've perused the manual a couple times. I can't find any warning about having it on and plugged in at the same time, which was a problem with this Alinco DJX10 receiver. This is just a receiver that'll go up to 2 gigahertz, from like 100 kilohertz to 2 gigahertz. If you turn that on when it's plugged in its charging stand, you scramble its brain, and it's history. The TYT can be used plugged in, and this Alinco can be used as well plugged in. The TYT covers 3 bands. The Alinco covers aircraft, NOAA, weather radio. This covers NOAA as well. And of course the ham band. This is 2 meters. This is 2 meters, 220 and 70 centimeters. This one's 2 meters, 70 centimeters, GMRS and FRS. And I took this review. I accepted this doing this review because I've always been curious about GMRS. I don't have any radios that operate there. So I went ahead and sent out and got my license for GMRS. It's 30 for you send an application off to the FCC online and give them $35, and the next day you've got your license in email you can print out. It's a confusing service. There's stuff related to, you can do some things if it has a fixed antenna, and not some things if it has a removable antenna, and it's a mishmash of rules. And the FRS and GMRS share frequencies, but you're only allowed so much power. I think it's 100 milliwatts on FRS, which requires no license, but if you want to operate at a higher power level, now you have to have the license, even though you're using the same frequency and the same radio. It's confusing, very confusing. You guys know how I feel about these import radios and what they're doing to the economy of the companies like ICOM and Alinco and Yaesu. We're subsidizing this coming here at these prices. You know, the U.S. is paying a good portion of the shipping, or it's deferring shipping charges because the Big C is a developing country with a space station. Come on. Also, you know, the companies there are being subsidized. Having said that, I'm going to do, you know, an honest review on this set, and we'll see what we've got. Now, it is a good looking radio. It's solid, doesn't twist, it feels good in the hand. It's got a decent color display. Let's get this over with and pull that off. There we go. That's gone. Stick it over there. It's got a nice little color display.
Welcome.
And it talks to you when you turn it on. Now you can turn that function off. Like all of these import sets, it seems to have the obligatory flashlight and flashing mode. I guess that could come in handy for something. A big thing for me is how intuitive is it to use. And I've played around with this for about half an hour without looking at the manual, and did manage to, you know, figure out how to go through the menus, and I figured out how to, you know, program a couple of channels. It's a lot easier if you read the book, but when you're out in the wilds and you don't have the book with you and you haven't done it in a while, it's nice to know that at least you can figure out how to program the silly thing. Oh, I should mention, we're filming this with the
Monday night and Tuesday, mostly clear.
We're filming this with the old camera. I got lazy today and grabbed my old standby. So this is in lower resolution than my last couple of videos, but I think, you know, I worked with this camera for a long time. So we can live with it. Now, there is programming software for this guy to make life a lot easier. And this is it. It looks like a poor copy of the RT systems. It's perfectly functional. I've done some programming with it. It's intuitive to use. It's easy. What worries me is their email told me to go to a site, OD Master, and when you try to get into that site, you get a not secure certificate data and date on invalid. That's where I stopped. I don't go any further than that. Nope. Thank you very much. Then I went to the TID radio site, and they tell you where to go, walkietalkiesoftware.com. Went to download the software to program it, and I almost didn't do it because it's a zip file. Nobody does zip files anymore, and that's a great way to import a virus from somebody who wants to get into your system. I finally decided to do it because this computer's at the end of its working life, and in a week or so I'm decommissioning it anyway, so I wasn't too concerned. It's disconnected from the internet right now, and I'm sorry guys, I don't have I have trust issues, let's put it that way. But it does work, it does function. The fonts are kind of crappy to read, but it is usable. It's missing the comments section over here that you would have if you had the RT systems. They allow you to put, you know, notes on the side over here. They don't go on the radio, but for your reference, there's notes. But as far as functionality goes, it's a perfectly usable program, and it does the job. Okay. Features I like so far. It has a real off and on switch. a real clicky switch, as does the TYT, as does my Alinco HT. This one does not. It's got a soft power switch. I'm not a fan of soft power switches because sometimes that radio gets put away for 2 or 3 or 4 months and I don't use it, and if I don't remember to pop the batteries off when I go back to it, the batteries are dead. There's a standby current running all the time, keeping an eye on that switch. Some radios are worse than others. Give me a real off and on power switch, and this has that. I like that. One feature I find annoying, and it's annoying on this one as well, on the TYT, it's a menu setting for the squelch, and that can be aggravating as hell when you want to quickly change the squelch and see what's going on in the background. Now this guy has a button you press and it just automatically bypasses the squelch, so that one's not too bad. But this one you got to dig into the menu to oh, there may be a function. I haven't read the book entirely, but software squelches kind of make me crazy. It's a plastic belt clip, as is the TYT. The Alinco's got a metal one. 6 to 1, half a dozen of the other. I should mention the TYT programming comes with a cable, and it came with the software on a memory stick, which is, I think, today how all of them should come on a thumb drive. This nonsense of downloading a zip file and having to unzip it to get your software, not a fan. Audio. Okay. One of the problems with a lot of these imports is lack of audio. This guy's not lacking in audio. Let me get the weather station up here.
Welcome. UXJ40 broadcasting on a frequency of 162.40 megahertz.
That is ear-splittingly loud and undistorted. They claim a watt of audio output, and I think they're telling the truth. And before we get into the actual testing of this set to see how closely it meets their published specs, one of the things they sent along was a PDF of their advertising brochures. And as I said, there's some Chinglish. They really need to start using somebody who's a native speaker when they make these things up, because some of the features here, well, they've got the color screen, that's great, Bluetooth programming, Typec programming, not sure exactly what that means, whether they're talking about the online or the downloadable software. The flashlight, the battery's a 2500 milliamp hour. Now the one with the TIT here is a 1600 milliamp hour battery. And while I don't have Big Clive's test setup to drain and recharge and see how close it meets specs, I did take a quick weighing of the two batteries, and I know you can't tell the capacity by the weight. Yeah, you can. I worked in a place that made batteries, these batteries, for a while, and you've got a sheet of aluminum, a sheet with the chemistry, and another sheet of copper. And the more of this you roll into the battery, the higher its capacity. It weighs more. The battery pack with the TYT is about the same size, and it weighed 75 grams, where the one with the TD radio is 109 grams. So it's definitely got more mass in the battery. So I'm gonna take them at their word that it's a 2500 milliamp hour. It definitely weighs considerably more than the one with the TYT. It's got a dual push to talk. When you've got two different bands, you can operate, UHF, UHF, VHF, or VHF, VHF, and you can have two different frequencies queued up, and you can use two different push to talks to operate on the two different bands. That's kind of a handy feature. AM aviation frequency reception, we covered that. Frequency meter mode. Now, I don't know what they're talking about here. That could be This has the function to decode DTMF, not DTMF, excuse me, CTCSS, and your repeater frequencies. It'll tell you what they are, but you know, you can listen to a repeater or the input of a repeater and pick up what the CTCSS codes are. That might be what they're talking about. Wireless radio replication. You can put two of these back to back and transfer the programming over. Fast pair one channel. Maybe that's part of the wireless radio replication. You can quickly transfer one channel. Not sure. Here's one. Frog called tail sound. Haven't got a clue what that's supposed to be. That might be, there's a function in there to, if some repeaters transmit a tone while they're transmitting, and when the when they drop the key on the other end, that tone instantly goes away, so you don't get that squelch tail. That may be what they're talking about, but I'm not sure. Scrambling, I don't even think that's legal on the ham bands. And NOAA coverage, which is handy to have. And there's a few items in the manual that I couldn't decipher exactly what they were talking about. Most of it is pretty well written, though. I have to say that 99% of what's in here is pretty easy to follow. They did a decent translation on the book. Okay, they advertise this as being a 5-watt radio. I'm going to test that now and we'll verify the power output. I'm always curious to see how spectrally clean these sets are. Guys who watch me regularly have seen me do the Baofeng when I tested the TYT and the Alinco, and I think I had an ICOM here at the time, versus the Baofeng, which was an absolute, their tri-bander was an absolute piece of crap, and all their fanboys came out of the woodwork and called me all kinds of names. You're an idiot. The thing was a piece of crap. It was transmitting so many spurious signals, it was unbelievable. We're going to find out how clean the transmitter is. We'll find out if it meets the power specification. We'll check the deviation level, and we'll go through it and do some actual functional tests of the radio. That's the stuff that's important to me. Is it a clean radio? So let me get a couple of these spectrum analyzers warmed up. Let me get my frequency counter warmed up, and we'll see how good this thing fares. Okay, the first thing we'll take a look at here, we got transmitter power, FM deviation, and frequency error. Now I'm set for 146.52 simplex. We'll see how far off it is. 96 hertz, 4.3 watts, which is perfectly acceptable. And let's see about deviation. 5, hello radio. About 4 kilohertz average, which is good. We're off about 98 hertz, which is perfectly acceptable. Last time I did this, I had all kinds of jokers coming out of the woodwork saying, "Oh no, that radio's broken." This is FM. This is not sideband. It's a handheld. If you're within 300-400 hertz, you're golden. And to verify that, we have another frequency counter down here. This one is tied to a GPS frequency standard. It's within 0.0002 hertz. And that's what this is using for a reference. 146.2500, 93 hertz. This one, the other unit's running on a its internal oscillator, and could be off a few hertz. I can tie the spectrum analyzer into the same frequency standard, but there we are, 97 hertz high. Absolutely fine. In fact, I'd say that's excellent. very good. Let's see how it does on the 400 megahertz band here. This is set for 450, so we got 450. This is 191 hertz high on the 400 megahertz band. Again, perfectly acceptable, well within expected limits for an FM handheld transceiver. FM has capture effect. Being off that amount doesn't hurt a thing. If this was sideband, you'd sound like Donald Duck, but it's not sideband. We're running FM, and perfectly acceptable. Deviation's acceptable. 5. There we go. I'll go up and show you deviation again. This actually works. This is so sensitive, it actually works just on the leakage in the cable. I'm on the antenna at the moment, so we're not going to get an accurate power level, but we'll get a deviation. 4.5 kilohertz. Perfect. And we got the same frequency error. 99 hertz, 96 hertz, within 2 hertz. Of course, this is not going to work at all because we're not connected. This is just floating. Hello, radio. Perfect. Okay. Very happy with the deviation and the power output. Oh, we didn't look at the power output on the 400 megahertz. Let's take a look at that. We'll connect back up here so we can get a direct reading. 400.050 on our frequency. 400.05 megahertz. And let's see what kind of power output. It's probably going to read a little bit higher at this frequency, I'm guessing, just from the way the detector works. 4.66, 4.65, so pretty good. I'd say that's well within expected limits for a 5-watt class handheld. I'm going to call that a win. Absolutely fine. Now, sadly, I sold off a lot of equipment because I've been doing a lot of traveling in Thailand and slowly decommissioning here. I don't have a second signal generator of a decent class to do intermod. I used to have 2 of these Hewlett-Packard units here, and I sold one off a couple years ago. So we can't do actual intermod testing, but what we can do is like a minimum discernible signal test and compare it between the other radios. But what I've seen so far, you saw in the beginning when I had the NOAA weather radio. We're down here in the basement. I live in a valley. I'm in, I don't get any signal down here, but it was still picking up the NOAA weather radio with at least as well as all of these other transceivers do. But we can take a look at it real quick and see what we can determine here. Let me get set up. Okay, I almost forgot. We're going to show you the spectrum on this thing and see how clean it is. And I've been called out for putting the signal directly into my spectrum analyzer. You're overloading the front end. No. Max power 100 watts continuous. This is an this analyzer is designed to do this. It's a mobile test set. It's designed to take the input directly into the front. We have a low-level antenna input over here, maximum of 200 milliwatts. You'd only use a little stub antenna on here. RF in 100 watts continuous, and we're on the RF in and RF in input setting. We'll go over here, frequency, and we're on the simplex here of 146.52. Okay, 146.52 megahertz. And right now we only have a span of 200 kilohertz. I better set my reference level. Oops, wrong. Better dial in some attenuation here. There's 40 dB. Okay, let's see what we got. And this says 34.36 dBm. Now I know this is off a little bit on this measurement, but I have verified with this spectrum analyzer that the power output matches what we saw on the previous display. I actually did run a series of tests on this the other day to see if this was even going to be worth doing. So there, on a 200 kilohertz span, we've got our signal. Now I'm going to open that or spread that out so we can see second harmonic. Let's go out 500 megahertz and see what we get here. 500 megahertz. This is the beginning of the sweep. I mean, because this is a 1 gigahertz spectrum analyzer. And with a 500 megahertz sweep based on our 147, the sweep starts here. But we've only got one spike. Nothing else shows up. Now the noise floor, of course, comes up when I've got this big a span, but there's nothing there at all. It is perfectly clean. It's just a major tone. Let's put this to 200 megahertz. Again, perfectly clean. Nothing on either side of it. Let's test it on the 400 megahertz frequency. That's 400,050. On key up, we got a couple of spikes, but that's just the oscillator locking. And I'm not even seeing them now on successive key ups. When your PLL first locks, sometimes you get some erroneous signals, but now that it's transmitted one, it's perfectly clean, absolutely acceptable. Beautiful signal, nice and clean. Very pleased. Getting excited about this radio, even though you know how I feel about the imports. It works well. Okay, now I'll go over and we'll try our minimum discernible signal. I'll shut this guy off so we don't listen to its fan screaming anymore. Okay, it says 1/4 of a microvolt for 12 dB signal to noise. And we're at 1/4 of a microvolt. Let's see how that compares. You can hear a little static in the background. We'll see how that compares to the TYT. Oh, what did I do? I went off frequency here. Oh, different frequency. Frequency 140s. Come on. Oh, it's not happy about something. RF off. Did I hit a transmit button by mistake? Oh boy, I hope I didn't blow up my attenuators. Oh, I think I hit the transmit button. Trying to do too many things at the same time here. Let's let this thing reboot and see what happens. Okay, let's see if we still have okay, didn't hurt it. Still working. Frequency. This one doesn't. VFO. Turn this one on. VFO. 147.550. Okay, let's see what we got here. About the same on the TYT. Little background noise. So, I'd say it meets its spec. The receiver looks good. Again, I can't do any intermod testing because I've only got a single generator here. We interrupt our regularly scheduled program to bring you this. It dawned on me that I should have continued on down in level here and seen where we could no longer have a chance of copying a signal. Now we're back at our 1/4 of a microvolt level, and that's breaking a squelch level of 3 on the radio. Let's go down to 0.2, and we've lost it. Now I'm going to break the squelch. You could probably still make out what was being said there, okay? Let's try 0.15. That would be pretty questionable copy, but you could probably in an emergency get communications at that level. Let's try 0.1. I'd say that's probably too far down in the noise to copy. You wouldn't be able to understand what everyone's saying. So we'll call the minimum usable signal on the TID. I'm not going for 12 dB SINAD, I'm going for minimum copyable. Probably 0.15 microvolts with the squelch broken. Okay, let's see how that compares to the other 2 radios here. Here's the TYT. And that broke the squelch. That actually broke the squelch at 0.15. So I'd say this guy is the winner there. Let's take it down to 0.1. Whoops, not 0.11, 0.1. 0.1. There, we lost it on the squelch, but come on, there we go. I bet we could copy that. Let's try 0.75. 0.075. Okay, so it appears the TYT is the hands down winner on that one. Let's see how that compares to my antique Alinco here. This thing's a real old timer. Oh, 47.55. Break the squelch open. I'd say that's usable on the Alinco as well. Gone there. You could make out the signal level there. Now this is old school, and this was an expensive transceiver. You know, this was 4 to 5 times, maybe 6 times the cost. So overall, in this shootout, I'd say this old Alinco has the best receiver in it. TYT is number 2, and the TID radio is number 3 on the list. I wouldn't reject it for that. I'm just doing a shootout, a shootout comparison. 0.25 microvolts. Oh wait, well, 0.15 microvolts. This is half of that. But still, 90% of the time you're not relying on signal levels that low. But we just wanted to do it to be thorough, shall we say. Okay, we now return. Boy, I shouldn't be eating those nuts. I got the shells in the throat. And we now return to our regularly scheduled program. Oh, a couple other things that we wanted to cover. I wanted to cover. Let's sneak back down here with the camera. Turn off the signal generator. Okay, not real scientific tests, I know. I'm gonna get called for not doing this and not doing that. So be it. This is just a quick rundown on this thing. Supposedly this radio has what's called a kill function, and that kind of concerns me. It means anytime that they want to force you into buying another radio, they could send out a kill code. ostensibly it's for if you lose the radio or it gets stolen, you know, or misplaced, you can send out a code and deactivate the radio, disable it. And if you're pretty sure it's been stolen, you can kill it. You can actually send out a code that will scramble its brain, and they say the only way to recover it, send it back to the factory and have them reprogram it. I don't know how I feel about that. I really don't. Especially when it's... Alright, I'm not going to get political, but I think you know where I'm going. The GMRS. Now, when you get this radio, when you purchase this radio, one of the first things I did is I looked up the FCC ID number, because I said, I bet it's counterfeit, and it wasn't. It actually has an FCC type acceptance. Now, my understanding years ago was if you had a ham radio, it couldn't be used on GMRS frequencies, and vice versa. They weren't type accepted for that. When you get this radio, it doesn't transmit. It doesn't work on GMRS frequencies. You have to go into a menu function, and I'll show you what it is. Actually, it's you hold the transmit and you hold the star button and you turn it on, and you get this menu. Now, this is nowhere in the book, but you get 1 for ham, 2 for GMRS, and 3 for normal. And it turns out normal is wide open, unlocked. You can transmit on ham and on GMRS, both. It works for both bands after you've done that. Now, I'm just going to back out of here. Low voltage. What are you talking about, low voltage? It's got a full charge on it. I don't know what that was all about. When you do that, it's going to erase all your memories. So if you're going to want to operate on both bands, do that from day one so that you don't have the thing all programmed up. When you select normal, it opens the radio up. It takes the frequency limits off of the ham bands, and so that you could actually transmit outside of the ham band. So you got to be careful. You got to make sure when you're programming it, you're programming frequencies within the ham bands, because it will go above and below the ham band a little bit. It will not transmit. I've tested it. It will not transmit on NOAA frequencies, and it will not transmit on the airband frequencies, fortunately. I was glad to see that even though the radio is unlocked, it still will not allow you to transmit on aircraft AM or NOAA frequencies. But it will let you transmit on the GMRS frequencies and all of the ham bands. And I don't know how useful this set's going to be to me. Again, I live in a valley here. I have had my software-defined radio scanning for several days on all of the GMRS frequencies. Now, I've got an antenna up on the tower for this, so it's looking out over the hill somewhat. I haven't heard peep one. I've heard plenty of pagers and some other services which operate in between GMRS channels, but I have not heard a single or captured a single GMRS signal. Supposedly there's 3 repeaters in New Hampshire. Now, GMRS, you can use repeaters. Supposedly there's 3 repeaters in New Hampshire. Haven't heard a squawk from any of them. So I don't know if that's typical for, GMRS, or if it's just, it's luck of the draw. I don't know. I can't speak for that one way or the other. Let's see. So we've told you how to unlock the GMRS. It is FCC type accepted. Now, that may be why it was locked on ham bands only. Maybe unlocking it makes it non-type accepted. I don't know. I tried figuring that out on the FCC website, and I couldn't make heads or tails of it. I don't think they're going to bother you, as long as you're not being stupid, as long as you're using it, you know, like a normal person would. They're not gonna give you a hard time. They don't really care much about the ham radio or GMRS frequencies anymore. They don't have the manpower to take care of it. What else? I guess that about wraps it up. I like the package. Oh, one other thing, that over here on the side you've got your USB Type-C for programming. This is not for charging the radio or powering the radio. This is strictly a USB-C programming port, and you have your speaker mic input here, which fits Kenwood. Doesn't fit ICOM accessories. My Alinco fits my ICOM headset and speaker mic. This does not. You're gonna, if you have Kenwood accessories, you're all set. They'll plug into this and operate. ICOM accessories or Alinco accessories will not work with this radio. I don't know, you know, well, I know why they do it, so they can sell their own accessories, but it's aggravating. It's like people who buy iPhones, and every year you got to buy a different adapter and a different, or Apple computers used to, you know, friends of mine had Apple computers, and every year they had to get a different printer or a different mouse because nothing was interchangeable. Let's see, what else can we talk about? We covered that. This key is programmable for several functions. Let me look here on the, I'll show you the software here. Where's my mouse? Here it is. Is it on? My mouse isn't on. We've got program, machine info, edit option features. Here we go. The buttons, let me zoom in a little bit. Hopefully you can see this. Oh, that might be too far. We'll back up a little bit there. And we got everything in screen, on frame. There we go. Okay, a short key press. You can have it turn on the lamp. You can have that access the FM radio function, transmit a tone, transmit alarm, or go directly to the NOAA weather frequencies. That's you know, that's can be programmed to do that. I've got the short key press right now for the lamp, and then remember I said you can bypass the squelch. That's the monitor. A long key press will turn the squelch off so that you can listen for signals that might be below your squelch threshold. They have some welcome messages you can put in here. Squelch level can be adjusted here. Light control, that's how long the backlight stays on. Voice prompting on. Auto lock, you can have an auto lock feature where it automatically locks the keypad. That's kind of a really handy function to have, because the problem I have with both my Alinco and the TYT is bumping buttons when I've got the radio on my belt and I'm using a speaker mic. I can't tell you how many times I've found the thing had changed frequencies on me. So having this auto lock function, you can turn that on, and after a few seconds, I forget exactly what it is, tells you in the manual, it goes to auto lock and automatically locks all your buttons. And you can unlock that by holding two keys down for 3 seconds, and it unlocks. There's a key pattern, and again, I forget what it is off the top of my head, but it's real simple. You've got a timeout timer, so the long-winded, like myself, I've been told, won't run out the repeater timer. You can tell whether you want the display to show frequency or the names you have assigned to the channels, because you have a, where is it, one of these scan name right here. You can put a name, like you can put your favorite repeater's name or NOAA weather or whatever. You know, if you have a simplex frequency you like, you can name them rather than trying to remember alphabet soup of frequencies. Breath LED, that's the when the radio is turned on, and let's see if we can catch it here. Basically what it is a heartbeat timer. You see the green LEDs flash, and they'll do it again every 5 seconds. That's just to remind you the radio's on with the volume turned down. Language English. Battery saver mode. It's like a typical battery saver mode. If you turn it on, the receiver goes to sleep, wakes up every 4 seconds or something and checks, and then goes back to sleep. You can set the frequency, step, repeater offsets, all the normal stuff that you normally do. And you can adjust all your Vox settings down here if you're using a headset. I think that about covers everything. Let me zoom back out. There we go. Not a bad little radio. I'm kind of growing to like it, to be truthful. And I say that grudgingly. Again, you know my feeling on these imports. But not a bad little radio. It's got good audio. It sounds good. Oh, the transmit audio sounds good as well. I didn't show you that. I've transmitted on it. It's got good transmit audio. It's got good receive audio. Plenty of volume. When this thing's turned up, it's ear splitting. Now the camera automatically adjusts the audio so you don't hear it. But I was very, very impressed with just how loud I could turn this thing up and still have almost no distortion in the audio. Really, really nice receive audio. Hate to say it, they got a decent radio. And I'm not saying this because they gave me the radio. You guys know I do honest, you know, I got the Baofeng for nothing, and I sent that thing back. I hated it. I guess that's going to wrap this up. If you're looking for an inexpensive import and you know, don't have a lot of money to spend, you can buy the bundle kits. Again, are a deal. With the bundle kits, you could outfit the whole family with GMRS radios for a little. I think it would work out now to about $30 a piece, but you get 8 batteries, 4 charging stands. How can you beat that? There are functions on here. If you're going to be handing these to the kiddies for GMRS, I would set it for GMRS only. That way they're not getting into trouble, you know, transmitting in the ham bands or outside of the GMRS or ham band frequencies. By selecting the menu, you could save several files here if you were doing that, rather than having to manually reprogram everything. You can just save several files, give it a name. Oh, I gotta close that. You can save it, give it a name, you know, unlocked frequencies or ham frequencies and GMRS frequencies. So like if you were going on an outing with a family, you would just download the, you know, set the radio for GMRS only, and then load it with the GMRS frequencies. And that way the kiddies can't get in trouble. They can carry the radio with them. They're inexpensive enough not to worry about the kids having them. And you'd be able to stay, you know, like if you're at a big campground or something, stay in touch with the kids. And the FCC says that the one license is good for your family. So once you've got the license, the kids are covered. That was interesting. What else? What else? Again, if you don't want the GMRS function, just lock it on ham bands. But again, I didn't have a GMRS radio. Now I do. Maybe I'll find a use for it sometime. Maybe I'll, you know, you never know what's going to happen in life. But the radio's here if I need it. And I'm licensed, so I'm going to wrap this one up. I'm the radio mechanic. I hope that TID Radio is happy with this review. And again, I try to be as honest as I can. I don't care who gave me what. If it's a piece of junk, I'm going to say it's a piece of junk. But I can't say that about this as much as I wanted to. It's a really decent little radio for the price. And again, you know how they got the price that low, but you know, it is what it is. Take care, stay healthy. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.